Uh, I want you to take a good look at the pictures you see on the screen right there. You know, over the weekend, Barry Bonds, he was not elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. You know, I'm not a student on how the Hall of Fame works, but from what I understand, his 10 years uh, are up in which he was eligible to be elected into the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame. So the writers, they can't vote him into the Hall of Fame. It will be left up to players and and others in order for him to be elected into the Hall of Fame. You know, I'm gonna touch on Bonds. Uh, don't get me wrong. A lot has happened in the game of baseball. You know, a lot of good things, but you had a lot of bad things happen in the game of baseball. And if you are not abreast with the game, then you might not know of some of these things. I'm not a student of the game, but throughout the years, I have paid attention to certain things that happen in baseball, and some of the things that happen in baseball uh, dealt with the steroid crisis within baseball, and during that period of time, Barry Bonds reportedly was guilty of using steroids. Roger Clemens, uh, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, you know, all of these people were accused of using steroids, and you had many other players, that were also accused, but these were just some of the headliners, because they had terrific numbers to go along with their game. Barry Bonds ended up being a home run king. Uh, Sosa and McGwire, they battled to see who would hit the most home runs in a season a couple of times. You know, Clemens striking out everything that moved. You know, uh, he's possibly the greatest pitcher to ever pitch the game of baseball. Uh, Also, I look at the case of Pete Rose, who it just appears, man, would never, ever be admitted into the Hall of Fame. And although he was uh, found to be guilty of betting on games, you got people that's in the Hall of Fame that have done far worse and are acknowledged as being greats in the game of baseball. And we're going to get into that right now. You got a couple of players, one player whose picture is shown by the name of Ty Cobb, who was a straight racist. He hated black folks. Uh, he reportedly killed a black man, but this has been covered up. But if you dig into the history of Ty Cobb, you will find out, you will learn and find out that he reportedly killed a black man after being angered by this black man who was basically trying to offer a nice gesture to him. And he took it to be offensive and murdered a black man. But he's in the Hall of Fame. You have, hold on, let me get some of these names together. Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who was a judge, and this man barred black people from entering the major leagues. Black people didn't enter the major leagues until after his death in 1944. And that's when Branch Rickey uh, decided that he was going to find a black ball player for his club, and that person turned out to be Jackie Robinson. You got some of these people you may not have ever heard of, but if you're a baseball purist, you've heard of these people. Cap Anson, uh, he refused to play with black players, but he was voted into the Hall of Fame in 1939. Look his history up. Cap Anson. Uh, and you have other players who are in the Hall of Fame who were alleged members of the Ku Klux Klan. Ty Cobb, Tris Speaker, Rogers Hornsby. Look these people up, dig into their history. Now, I'm not trying to make this a racist thing. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm saying though is, yeah, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, uh, Sosa and McGuire, they made mistakes by taking steroids, and maybe they weren't forthcoming and truthful when it came to being found guilty of using steroids. But now you have uh, David Ortiz, who was selected to be in the Hall of Fame first time around, and he was also accused of using steroids. Now, you're going to have a lot of people say that his test was a false positive, but he was also accused like they were. I'm just saying. Uh, I'm trying to understand why the players are not the people that are voting people into the Hall of Fame. Why does any writer have the right to vote anyone into the Hall of Fame, especially if they have never played the game? I'm just not understanding it. And this has been going on ever since the Hall of Fame has been in existence for Major League Baseball. But you got Pete Rose. Man, I just feel so sorry for Pete Rose. As great of a ball player he was, that mistake that he made has him barred permanently from being admitted into the Hall of Fame. When you have players being selected for the Hall of Fame with numbers far less greater than numbers that he put up, but he's not selected. It just looks like people that are allowed to vote for people to be enshrined or endorsed to be in the Hall of Fame pick and choose who they want to be in the Hall of Fame. I feel like, you can't pick and choose. You got to, you're gonna do it, then do it for everyone. You know, first you need to start by getting these racists up out of there. You know, regardless of their numbers and what they did, you know, the racism outshines anything that they've done. If you gonna hold players accountable for using steroids, then do the same thing when it's found that these individuals were full blown racists and Klansmen. Do the same thing. You know, if you gonna hold people accountable for gambling, do the same with these racists. If you gonna hold people accountable for using steroids, then hold all people accountable for using steroids whose name has been mentioned as individuals that use steroids while playing Major League Baseball. That's all I'm saying. You know, I might get a lot of flack for what I'm saying, but so be it. You know, it's just my opinion. Until next time.